Principal's Plan contracts for juniors and seniors are being distributed this week. The first session for juniors and seniors is this Saturday, January 26th from 9 a.m. until 1 p.m. The QR codes and the URLs to register for the spring 2019 Principal's Plan sessions are posted in front of the registrar's office, the attendance office, counseling office, and right there on your screen. Students, you must register to participate in any of these sessions. Please note that there is also a QR code and URL posted around campus that will allow you to submit specific questions or concerns about the Principal's Plan. You will receive a response from that inquiry within 3 business days.
The floral department will be selling flowers every Thursday in front of the decor store for the rest of the semester. If you are in need of flowers at any other time, come to 8:30, the Floral Design Classroom. Thank you.
The last time I wrote a song was in a college bathroom, scribbling my life away on scrap after class. Soon lacking on the grades, considered the time wasted. What I learned today was I failed and I hate this. To have my efforts graded and subjectively misplaced with teenage wastes of space with bank statements loaded with the commas. I do not belong with all yous, nothing but a slave for squalor on the bench watching ballers like holler. If you got some debt now, you're in full effect. If you're poor, let me hear some chest pounds. If you're insecure, show them how the hollows get down. Walk like you were never dead as if you're still.
I'm Katie J, and Skyline Scoop starts right now. Good morning, Raiders. Today is Miss Horner's January #Make and Take. If you have a dog and would like to make a DIY toy, come to the Make and Take January 25th during all lunches. Magnet application season isn't in full effect if you are currently a 9th or 10th grader who is not in a magnet program or in a NAF Academy. Please consider applying now. You can apply online at magnetonline.dallasisd.org. After applying online, you must turn in your necessary supporting documents. Paper applications and more information is in Office 104 with Ms. Guzman. Also, please spread the word to any 8th graders that you may know. The deadline to apply is January 31st. Friday, the girls and boys basketball teams will play Duncanville. The girls play here at Skyline, and the boys will play at Duncanville. Games will be at 5:30, 6 o'clock, and 7:30. Now for your A segment.
From the mid-1950s to the late 1960s, nearly 100 years after the Emancipation Proclamation, African Americans in southern states still inhabit a starkly unequal world of segregation and various forms of oppression, including race-inspired violence. Jim Crow laws barred blacks from classrooms and bathrooms, from theaters and train cars, from juries and legislatures. They couldn't go to the same schools as the whites. They were punished, arrested, or put to jail if they didn't obey. Civil rights activists used nonviolent protest and civil disobedience to bring about change. Many leaders from within the African American community and beyond rose to prominence during the Civil Rights era, including Martin Luther King Jr., Rosa Parks, Malcolm X, and many others. They risked and sometimes lost their lives in the name of freedom and equality. Rosa Parks worked as a seamstress at Montgomery Department Store, and after a long day's work, she boarded the bus for home. She took a seat in the black section in the back of the bus. As the bus began to get more crowded, the bus driver moved the black section sign back a couple of rows, telling blacks to get up and move back to make more room for the whites. Rosa Parks refused to stand up, not because she was tired, but because she was sick of giving in. The bus driver called the police, and Rosa was arrested at the scene, and that night she was released for bail. The evening of her arrest, head of NAACP for that area, began creating plans for a Montgomery bus boycott. On December 5, 1955, the day of Rosa Parks' trial, in protest of her arrest, most of the African American community, about 40,000 people, stayed off the bus for the next 6 months. In June 1956, the District Court of Alabama declared racial segregation laws unconstitutional. A year later, on December 20th, 1956, the city of Montgomery had no choice but to lift the enforcement of segregation on public buses, and the boycott finally ended. Martin Luther King Jr. is known for being one of the greatest leaders against racial discrimination and segregation. He was also known as one of the greatest speakers of all time. In August of 1963, at the March on Washington for Jobs and Freedom, Martin Luther King Jr. delivers his I Have a Dream speech. This speech was focused on the rights of African Americans, but also emphasized his view of unity and friendship throughout the nation. This speech is now considered one of the greatest speeches in American history. Martin was assassinated in 1968. May 17, 1954, the court ruled that segregation in public schools was a direct violation of the Equal Protection Clause of the 14th Amendment. This meant that any public schools that were segregated were breaking the law. After Brown v. Board of Education, an equal public education was a right for any child, no matter their background, race, or upbringing. June 11, 1963, President Kennedy spoke to the public and expressed a desire for a new perspective on civil rights that would extend to all Americans and would protect their voting rights. President Kennedy was assassinated before he could fulfill his vision. President Lyndon B. Johnson actualized the dream Kennedy, Rosa Parks, Martin Luther King Jr., and so many others saw by passing the Civil Rights Act of 1964. This law resulted in the banning of discrimination and segregation and ensuring voting rights for women and minorities. Roughly a year later, the Voting Rights Act of 1965 would follow suit, protecting and extending the rights to vote to all, regardless of race or color. In 1990, the Americans with Disabilities Act was signed by President George Bush, allowing for more equality among all people. This act was put into place to end discrimination of disabilities in the workforce, on public transportation, through communications, and much more. We must continue to protect the people of this nation against discrimination, regardless of where one might come from, what they look like, or what they believe.
That's all we have for today, Raiders. Be sure to catch up on all things Skyline by following us at Skyline Broadcasting. And to make sure you never miss an episode of your Skyline Scoop, you can sign up to receive mobile broadcasts by texting at SKYN to 81010. You can catch us every day at skynetbroadcasting.org and make sure to listen to tomorrow's hits today and every day in the cafeteria and anywhere else in the world with Skynet Radio. I'm Katie J, and from everybody at Skynet Broadcasting, thanks for watching, and we'll catch you next time, Raiders. Such a nice day.